Day viewers of Public Access. Well, our political bull show is back, and I want to thank Carolyn Branagan for coming in to be on our show so that we can keep it live and active. And we're going to try to get all our legislative and our senators to come on during the year that they're going to be down in Montpelier working on different bills. So, Carolyn, so some people that might have moved in Georgia may not know you. Could you give a little background on you?
Sure. Thanks for inviting me on the show. First of all, my name is Carolyn Branagan. I served in the Vermont House for a long time, 7 terms, but the last, and during that time I represented the town of Georgia, and some of that time we were in a 2-town district, so I also represented the town of Fairfax, both towns here in Franklin County. And at the last election in November, I ran for the state Senate. So now I represent all the towns in Franklin County except for Richford and Montgomery. And I also represent Alburgh. So it's most of Franklin County and Alburgh. Those are the communities that make up the Franklin district. So I represent those towns along with Dustin Degree. Our Senate district, of course, is a 2-member district. We've got 14 towns, and 2 members represent those 14 towns in the state Senate. We went into session the first week in January, and so we're all up and ready to go. I grew up in the town of Georgia. My dad was a dairy farmer. My mom was an RN. She worked at the hospital, what was then Curbs Hospital, for many years. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. I went to school at BFA in St. Albans here, and then on to UVM, where I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. My husband runs his own company here in St. Albans. He and I have 3 grown children, and we live in Georgia, of course, where I represented previously, and we make maple syrup on our land.
Well, first of all, I want to commend you for the fact that you're always putting letters in the paper and letting your people that voted you in office, know where you're going on different issues. So I want to commend you because not too many people do that, and you have a tendency of doing it all the time.
I'm always surprised at how many people actually read those letters. I'm pleased. I get a lot of feedback. A lot of people email me or call me at home, and I very much appreciate that. And this position, when you're a state legislator, you are elected to represent people. I can't vote just on the way that I think the world should be. I'm elected to represent them and make sure their opinions and their thoughts are known in Montpelier as we get to decision making. And I can't do that if I don't know what people are thinking. So I really appreciate the contact. Email works best, but you can also call me anytime.
What's your email address?
cbranagan at ledge.state.vt.us. I'll spell that out for you. cbranagan at, the little swiggly thing that's at, ledge, leg.state.vt.us. So that's my email. And it's on the State House website, too. You can find it there. And in all my letters to the editor.
Yeah. Now, we've been hearing a lot about the opiate problem that we got in here in Vermont. We got a real major problem, or we just have, the beginning of the opiate problem in here?
Oh, I think we have a major problem. It's very sad. It affects all families of all kinds of economic backgrounds and education levels, all families. Nobody is safe from that, sadly. Kids get involved in these opiates, parents, and even elderly people. I know of several people older than I am in my hometown who went in to have surgeries or medical procedures of one kind or another, and they're given a prescription for an opiate to kill the pain while they're undergoing these procedures or recovering from surgery or something, and before they know it, they're addicted to these painkillers, opiates, and it's very bad. So nobody is free from it or out of the realm of getting addicted, and I really think it's a huge problem. In fact, the state police have told me that in Georgia, you've probably seen in the paper, we have an unusual amount of break-ins, and people lose things like guns and jewelry and cash that they have in their homes. These break-ins are, most of them, related to drug addiction. So people take these things, steal them, and then end up trading them for drugs of one kind or another. It's very sad, very problematic.
Every city and town has got that problem, though.
Everyone.
Yeah, and
Yes.
until the doctors, realize that, don't give them a prescription for 30 days, but give them a prescription for 3 days, then this problem's still going to exist. And once they get hooked on this stuff, they just need it. I have relatives that are, that are on drugs, and he's been in and out of jail and all that stuff,
Yeah.
So, it doesn't make a difference whether you're poor, middle income, or rich. It's going to affect any one of those families.
Yeah, it's very sad, and especially if it's young people who get involved. They never really seem to escape that shadow over their reputation and their employability and ability to go on to school. It's huge, very very sad thing. Impacts their entire life.
My doctor today wanted to give me some tramadol. I'll tell you what, that stuff is bad too. I said no. I said, give me a prescription for medical marijuana because I think it's going to be legal in Vermont. He kind of laughed.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. But let's talk with the education bill that the governor gave out. Pros and cons, feel good about it, don't feel good about it?
That's the one you must be talking about, his proposal that came out last week or the week before about, transferring all the teachers' insurance and teachers' retirement expenses into the ed fund. He also transferred some revenue, but not enough to cover that. Wanted schools to just keep a flatline budget, and I can't remember the other aspects, but those are the big ones. Yes, that was proposed. He had it written up into a bill form, and the 3 senators from Rutland County had signed on to it, all 3 of them. As far as I know, they were the only ones who signed on. I didn't sign on, and neither did the other senator from Franklin County, Dustin Degree.
I don't think you've been down there long enough to actually understand a lot of these new articles that they're trying to pass. We wanted to get you in here just to talk about what you think, what's going on, and then we'll try to get you in probably once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever you can put us in for.
Well, I'd like that. This one, this proposal that the Governor Scott brought forth has a lot of problems with it. I went in to talk with him about it on Friday with some other state senators, and he was pretty open and willing to talk to us about it. And I know that he knows that it's got some issues before it even gets any hearing at all. I asked him, for example, here in Franklin County, most of our schools come in below the statewide average. In fact, all but one of our schools in Franklin County come in well below the statewide average and have habitually, for years, come in under. So we're low spenders here. And even at that, I think it was in St. Albans Town that voted on their budget 3 times last year. Isn't that right? So even at that, voters are not quick to approve high-level budgets here. And he said, well, he was hoping some way would be found around that, so there could be some kind of an exemption given for those communities. Then the other thing about teachers' health and teachers' retirement being in the ed fund, I've felt for years that all those expenditures should be together. If it has to do with with education, they should all be together. And I reminded him that there are a lot of things in the Ed Fund that have nothing to do with education, and I felt those ought to be out. I'm actually glad that he put the other things in. I don't yet know how we're going to pay for them. The money that he transferred is not enough to pay for them, and that reason alone, maybe I can get some people to agree with me that unless we find a way to pay for them in the Ed Fund, they shouldn't be in the Ed Fund.
Yeah.
But if we can't, then they should come out. If we can find a way to pay for them, then they should definitely stay. But there are other things in the Ed Fund like lister training and building the grand list and corrections education. That one used to be in there. I don't think it is anymore, but things that have nothing to do with kindergarten through 12th grade education should not be in there, which raises the question, well, now we have this paying for college courses when kids are still in high school. Should we really have that in the Ed Fund, which is designed to pay for kindergarten through 12th grade? I think that deserves a debate, and I haven't ever heard it talked about. It wasn't talked about on the floor, wasn't really talked about out in the open. But so we'll see where that all goes. I think that Governor Scott is anticipating that there'll be a good, healthy discussion about that. I know that I've received a lot of emails about it just in the few days since the governor proposed it. So I look forward to some good discussion.
Yeah, well, you know, Shumlin, in my opinion only, was not a good governor. You know, and I'm a Democrat.
I know you are. You know, he wasn't a bad guy.
I mean, as a person, he was okay, but some of the things he did down Montpelier, we're going to pay for it for a long time.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. He didn't always think things through either when things went forward, but you know.
I see we're
elected, so he served.
Yeah, he served, and thank God he is no longer in office. In the town of Georgia, you lost one of your longtime members, you know, Gary Palmer. You know, he was one heck of a nice guy. I worked with Gary Palmer, you know, and the Palmer family has always been the history of Georgia. You agree?
Oh, yeah. Those are nice people.
Yeah.
And his brother Richard died not too long ago.
Yeah.
As well. That family has contributed a lot to the town of Georgia for years. We'll definitely miss him.
Brent Palmer, you know, was in the hospital a couple of years ago, and Gary Palmer was down there every day because he had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And Gary's girlfriend that he's got, Peggy, has turned him around. He's lost a lot of weight, and he looks a lot better. So thank the Lord for that, because you know, I worked with Brent Palmer and I worked with Gary.
Brent and I graduated from the 8th grade together. Did you know that?
No.
From Georgia. Yeah. He was in my 8th grade class. I love to see him, you know, out and about. He always gives me a wonderful hug, and it's really good to see him.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's feeling a lot better.
Yeah, he is feeling a lot better. They got this bill of bicycle registration. I don't know if you know anything about that yet, but
high school.
Bicycle
registration. No, that's not my bill.
I didn't think it was your bill because I didn't see it under your name. You know, this
bicycle registration.
Yeah.
Huh. You mean to drive on public highways?
Must be. It's age 46. You know, that somebody is introducing down there, you know, which, you know, the towns and the cities could do that individually. You know, back when I was growing up, I had to get this $2 plate, 4 inches long, 2 inches high, put it on my bicycle.
I remember those plates. Yeah, if you wanted to drive your bike on the road, you had to get one of those little plates. They were cute.
Yeah.
But I never got one. So
I kind of snicker at that stuff, you know.
Yeah. You know, I have heard actually some just chatter around the county that bicycles should be registered because they share the highway, and cars and trucks pay for the highway through their registration fees, and bicycles should too. I don't know if I really agree with that.
If we provide the area where they can ride, I imagine that we'd have to charge them.
Yeah.
You know, Route 7 going from St. Albert City to the Highgate Shopping Center. you take your life in your own hands, walking or even riding a bike on that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dangerous stretch of road, that's for sure.
But I know with what's his name? Act 250. Is it Scott? No. What's his name? The guy's in charge of Act 250. He's making everybody put in sidewalks. We got to put in a sidewalk at our new public access studio, which we will start probably in May or June. 165 feet of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Steve Jeffrey. I think it's Steve Jeffrey.
Oh, Steve Jeffries,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Used to be the League of Cities and Towns.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And that's going to make a lot of towns have to buy equipment, to provide the care for those sidewalks now.
Yeah, but I don't think he can do that unilaterally, just on his own say-so. I think that has
Do you
to
want your
somehow...
permit to bill?
Yeah, but I'm saying I think that there needs to be some other reason to require that. I don't think just because he wants it, he can... I think that must have come from some other source.
Ask David Handy about his sidewalk he's going to put out there, going to nowhere,
Yeah.
It's really crazy, that
In front
putting
of the
a
store.
sidewalk in front of the GMC, and he said, I'll finish the sidewalk over on the other side of the road where Walmart ends, all the way up to the mobile station. I'm willing to do that. They wouldn't. He wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't do. They wouldn't accept it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Gee.
it's crazy. Is there any bills that you might want to talk about? See that we're anything that you might want to talk about?
Well, before we started filming, we were talking about the veterans and their income tax. I've felt for quite a while that retired veterans, men who served, through their professional life in the military and made a career out of it, that retirement pay should not be taxed. I know that there are a lot of states that exempt that money from income tax owed to the state, and I really think that the state of Vermont should also. That's something I tried to get through the House Ways and Means Committee. I served on that committee for 12 years, but I never could make it work. I got rid of a lot of taxes other than that tax, but that one I couldn't get rid of.
And,
So
it's sad that because they served their life in the armed forces, and we can't do something like lower the exemption so that they only have to pay it on 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's another version of that same tax that we, there's a couple of scenarios of what that would look like. You either exempt the first 5,000 of their income, or you exempt the whole thing down so that they only pay on 5,000. Whatever. I mean, either way is better than they're paying the whole thing. Although I would prefer them not having to pay any at all on their military retirement.
Yeah.
And same with Social Security. Vermont is one of the few states that taxes Social Security for all citizens, not just for military veterans. And I don't think we should. I never thought we should be taxing that.
You can get that passed, you'll be governor.
Yeah, well, don't hold your breath, unfortunately.
Yeah, because a lot of people in St. Albans Town are moving out, and they're going to North Carolina, South Carolina, or even into Florida. So they don't have to pay so much in taxes. Property taxes in St. Albans Town, are getting higher. I made a motion to use $300,000 of our 1% sales tax to lower the property taxes for St. Albans Town residents only, and I got voted down 4-1.
Huh? Wow.
So, but they got other ideas where they want to use that money. We have over $1,700,000 in that 1% sales tax in 2 years.
Gee, great.
Yeah. So, but
That didn't take long.
They want to build a town garage. They want to build a town hall, stuff like that. So. And then the city likes to get a piece of the pie. They want to take some of our money and to drop that affiliation fee. But we're going to be in court for a long time, long after I'm off the select board.
They want some of your local option tax,
Yes.
that 1%?
Yeah, they
on
want.
what grounds?
Well, they have an affiliation fee. The
Yeah.
affiliation fee is if you need water and sewer,
Yeah.
You know, you can hook up, but the water and sewer rate's going to be 28 cents for $100 value of your property. So if it's $100,000, it's $280.
Okay.
Then you still got to pay the water and sewer bill, and you got to pay that $280 for every year for 20 years. If they drop the affiliation fee, and they want over half of that money to go to them. You know, the select board has talked about, yeah, I wouldn't mind money going into the water and wastewater plants because that affects our town, and if we have users on the town and that are using it. But we won't put it in their general fund so they can spend it the way they want. So, yeah, we're ongoing fighting in that area.
Yeah.
So, what about farmers? Do you think the farmers are having a hard time? You know, I understand the milk is somewhere around $12 per hundredweight,
it's
or something
very
like
low. I think it's about 14, but
14?
yeah, $14 per hundredweight. Yeah, I think the farmers are having a really hard time. Yeah, definitely. In fact, I met this morning with a bunch of farmers over at Minor Institute in Shazy, New York. I drove over there. We had a good discussion. Yeah, the farmers are having a difficult time. The milk price is low. This new required agricultural practice list of new rules they've got to follow. The difficulties now with getting workers of all kinds, American citizens and people from other countries. Farmers are having a rough time, and they create food for our nation and really for the world. The American farmer is quite an advanced profession. They can produce a lot of food for a lot of people, and I think it's something we need to think more about and welcome them here in Vermont. I know I've served in the legislature a long time. I know that there are some people there that don't want our farmers around. For a number of reasons. It doesn't smell nice. It can make the roads yucky, and things I never actually thought of. Being a farm kid myself, I never thought of these negative ways of looking at what is really a normal procedure on a dairy farm or any kind of farm. But
you have a lot of people coming out of state that that don't like the smell.
They don't like the smell. They don't understand what's happening on the farm. And I know I got a call from some people who had come from out of state not too long ago. Apparently a cow had calved out by the road, and if more than just the calf comes out, and the people were all offended and thought that was an awful thing. Well, this happens on farms, and so I called the farmer, and they were in the process of getting the vet, and I said, okay, thanks very much. I'm glad you're aware of it.
I went to a farmer in Georgia, got a call from this woman. They got the cupolas where they keep their calves.
Yep.
So anyways, the woman said, I want you to go down and check it out. So I went down and checked it out. That's the first time, and I've worked with animals for 38 years, where I saw calves that actually had a coat on top of them. There was 6 of them out there that each had their own coat.
Yeah.
So I commended that farmer there, and I said, that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Well, farmers can't afford to mistreat their animals. They really can't. Cattle are so expensive, and the things that they produce have so much value. Most farmers are extra careful. I know there are always examples now and then of something that happens that's unfortunate, but by and large, most of the farmers here in Franklin County take superb care of the animals that are on their farms, and they take good care of the land too.
Yep.
So, I think farmers are having a hard time. I'm not sure that state government can do much to help them at this point, but I personally try to stay in close touch with our farmers. Their economic contribution to the state, nearly $3 billion a year. We can't afford to be without that.
No, because the co-op, and of course takes most of the milk from Vermont, and then they take it from New York also.
Yeah.
You know, and the co-op's been a very good business for this area, you know, and they employ a lot of people.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good business and helps, you know, give the farmers in our area a market for this product they produce.
Yeah.
Transport it and bottle it and get it to a bottler. So it's really a valuable service.
Yeah.
That said, I know that farmers are also concerned about the quality of the water here in our state. Many of them have themselves personally invested thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on their farms to make whatever changes in their procedures so that water is kept as clean as it can be. So they're working with that, and I always learn a lot when I talk with farmers about that. I got assigned to the Ag Committee in the Senate. It was my first choice committee. I was delighted to be assigned to that committee. We've had, in the past 4 or 5 weeks since we've been in session, a number of people in to testify about the water. We had the State Treasurer Beth Pierce in to talk about plans that she could see as to how to pay for the cleanup of the water, and very interesting. I was much encouraged about the issues people raised and the solutions they could find for them.
Yeah. I got a call from the Lake Champlain Basin. Every summer we do testing of the bay. You know,
Yeah.
if it fails on one day, the following day we retest. You know, and we only had to close it, I think, 5 times last year. You know, we did go out and buy a brand new rake that rakes the seaweed off the shoreline. And that was a $30,000 investment, but I think it's paid for itself because, you know, the stench down there was so strong before. So,
Yeah.
but you know, everybody has to work together: the farmers, the house owners, the camps, the boaters, and everybody has got to work, because if that lake dies, you know, it's going to take a long time to get it to turn around. Yeah.
Sure will.
Yeah. So, is there any closing remarks? We're down to about 2 minutes. I want to make sure that you have some closing remarks.
Boy, that was fast.
Well, I put you in for 30 minutes because I know you have a busy time, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, 3 weeks from now on a Monday, you know, we can get you in, you know, that way you know a little bit more what's going on.
Yeah, right. Well, as time goes on, more things do happen. In 3 weeks, I'll know a little bit about what's happening around the county for town meeting, and you know how we can give our reports at that time. No, I just want to encourage people to go ahead and contact me or contact Senator Degree. One or the other of us will try to find the answer to your question. I've already given you my legislative email, cbranagan@ledge.state.vt.us. You can also call me at my home. My number's in the book. Just leave a message, and I'll get the message when I am able and return your call. So, and while I have your listeners' attention, I want to thank them again for putting the trust in me to go down to Montpelier and represent them in our work there. It's not a trust that I take lightly. Thank you. I want to do a good job, so be sure and stay in touch with me and let me know what you're thinking. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Carolyn. And
Thank you.
we'll see you in about 3 weeks.
Okay, I'll look forward to it.
To the
Take
viewers
care.
of Public Access, we want to thank you and hope you have an understanding. We'll try to get some of the other representatives and senators in so we can see what they think. But we'll probably wait till about the 3rd week so that way we can find out more what's going on in Montpelier.
Okay, great.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.